A lot of e-com store owners only run Google Shopping ads. But what most people don't realize is that Microsoft ads, what you might know as Bing ads, can sometimes get you cheaper clicks. And beyond that, they often bring in sales that you'd normally miss. So in this video, I'm going to break down the key differences between Google Shopping ads and Microsoft Shopping ads. I'm also going to help you figure out which one makes sense for your store. Then I'm also going to walk you through how to do a profitable test of Microsoft ads to see if it's actually going to work for your store. So let's get into it. Let's start with reach. Google's the giant. Massive search volume, and they're usually where most people start their buying journey. So if you could pick one platform based on volume, Google is the obvious choice. But that doesn't mean that Bing ads don't matter. Yeah, the audience is smaller, but they're still really valuable. We're talking older, higher income desktop users, especially in places like the UK, US, Australia, and Canada. That's why, depending on your store, Microsoft can be a very smart play. So if you're selling high-ticket products like luxury furniture or electronics, that audience behaves differently. They usually convert better on Microsoft than the average Google shopper. So even though the actual volume of searches on Microsoft is smaller, the targeting can give you a better ROI than you'd expect. Next, let's talk about costs. On Google, you've got way more advertisers also bidding and fighting over those same clicks. This usually means higher CPCs. On Microsoft, less e-commerce stores are advertising there. That means less competition and cheaper clicks. For example, in many niches, we've seen Google's clicks average about $1.20, but the same niche on Microsoft ends up being about 80 cents per click. It's often a really big gap, between 30 to 40% depending on the industry. And what's really interesting is that Microsoft often has less competition on the longer tail keywords. That means you can scoop up these cheap, high intent clicks much better, cheaper than on Google. Okay, here's something else. If you're already running Google Shopping campaigns, you don't need to start on Microsoft from scratch. Believe it or not, Microsoft lets you import your campaigns directly from Google Ads. Now, we actually have a full step-by-step guide video on how to actually do this. So I'm going to leave a link to that video down below in the description. The setup itself looks almost identical. You've got Merchant Center, product feed, campaigns. It's all very familiar. There are just a couple of things to keep your eye on. Double check your feed rules because some product categories and attributes don't align perfectly with Google. For example, some categories map a little bit differently, and fields like shipping settings and product IDs might need a quick tweak. What I recommend doing is importing your feed from Google and then going to Microsoft Merchant Center and checking if there are any errors. You want to fix these straight away, so you don't want to sit with these warnings or disapprovals in your account. Okay, let's now talk about performance. On Google, you'll usually get more volume of sales. That's just because there's more traffic available to purchase and bid on. On Microsoft, you won't see the same volume. It's going to be less, but the traffic is going to be cheaper. For example, on Google, you might get 100 sales at a $50 CPA. On Microsoft, you might get around 20 to 25 sales, but the CPA is about $35. So you're getting a little bit of extra profit per customer without putting in a lot of ad spend. So when we're planning and strategizing with our Google Ads clients, and we're deciding, okay, are we going to add on Microsoft ads? We look at it more of like a low risk add-on. It's not going to be the big thing that gives you 100K months from the get-go. It's not the easy way to stack in extra revenue and more profitable revenue into your marketing mix. Okay, now guys, I want to talk about who should actually use each platform. If you're brand new to ads, okay, start with Google. That's where most shoppers are, and it's the fastest way to learn, optimize, and scale. Once you're already on Google, this is what we say to our clients again, once you've already got Google set up, we're running, we're optimizing, then we can move into Microsoft. And this is what we do for our retainer clients. Now, Microsoft Ads isn't for everybody, but it does shine very brightly in a few cases. First, if you're selling high ticket or premium products, Microsoft's audience skews a little older, more income, and also desktop heavy. So if you're in luxury or luxury furniture, high-end electronics, premium home appliances, that audience often converts better on Microsoft than the average Google shopper. And secondly, if your store doesn't have super great margins, because CPCs are cheaper on Microsoft, it means that you've actually got more to work with when acquiring your customers. Google may be too competitive, and so over on Microsoft, you get less volume of sales, but they're going to be more profitable. And third, if you've already scaled up Google and you've got it dialed in, it's optimizing well, and it feels a bit saturated, maybe explore looking at Microsoft. CPAs on Google can start creeping up when you've got more other advertisers entering the market. So Microsoft gives you a way to increase your revenue without fighting with all the other advertisers there on Google. You can expand, it can be really, really good. Okay, so how do you test Microsoft shopping ads without wasting money? The way I'd go about it is pretty simple. Start by looking at your Google Ads account. Identify your best performing campaigns, get those, and import them into Microsoft Ads. Then shift about 10 to 20% of your Google budget over to Microsoft Ads. You don't want to just stop Google, obviously. So what you're doing is you're testing out Microsoft without putting your main golden goose at risk. Next, let's adjust your bids. As I've said a few times, Microsoft's sweet spot are desktop users, older shoppers, and high income audiences. Make sure that your bids reflect that. Let your campaigns run for a few weeks, then check your numbers. CPA, ROAS, and conversion volume. If you're seeing cheaper CPAs and a strong conversion volume, great. Scale it up slowly. Also, remember, Microsoft's audience is a little different. They tend to be older, higher income, and more often on desktop. Which means if you're selling these higher ticket premium products, you'll see better results here than on Google. Now, let me save you from a few mistakes that I see all the time when my team and I audit Microsoft ad accounts. Number one, don't just copy your bids from Google over to Microsoft. Clicks here are usually cheaper, so you can reduce those bids and save money. Number two, don't ignore who's actually clicking. This isn't the same crowd as Google. Focus on desktop, 35 plus, high income. That's where Microsoft performs best. And number three, don't expect Microsoft to replace Google, but it will add some extra profit without a huge amount of extra work. All right, guys, that's it. That's the difference between Microsoft Ads and Google Ads. If you want to see how to actually set up your Microsoft ad account, I'll leave a link to a video tutorial that we made down below. And if you want to learn how to import your campaigns from Google over to Microsoft, I've got a separate video on that too. Both are linked below, so go and check that out. And if you like our help to actually do this or manage your campaigns for you, book a time with my team and I. I'll leave a link down below to our calendar. We can actually run everything for you, or we can mentor you. We have a community called KeyCommerce Academy. I'll leave a link to that down below as well. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Make sure to check out our other videos. This one here might be especially useful for you.